I used to believe money was safety, that if I had enough of it, I'd finally be able to rest. I'm 80 now, and I can tell you, that belief kept me running for 40 years. I missed dinners. I missed people who stopped waiting. I missed a version of myself I thought I could come back to later. Funny thing is, when the money finally came, time didn't. And now, sitting here, I keep wondering if the life I protected so carefully was the one slowly disappearing. I don't remember when it started. That's the strange part. People like to believe there's a moment, a decision, a clear turn. But for me, it felt more like drifting. One extra hour at work, one missed evening, one promise postponed. I kept telling myself the same thing. Just for now. Just until things are stable. Just until I earn a little more. Just until I can finally relax. I didn't call it greed. I called it responsibility. I had bills, people depending on me, a future I was supposed to secure. That's how it disguises itself. Money never asks loudly. It whispers. It tells you you're being smart, that you're doing what others are too afraid to do. That sacrifice now means peace later. And I believed it. I really believed that once I crossed a certain number, life would slow down. I'd wake up lighter. I'd breathe differently. I'd finally feel safe. But the number kept moving. Every time I got close, it shifted just a little further away. And instead of stopping, I adjusted, worked harder, stayed longer, stopped noticing the quiet things slipping past me. Birthdays became obligations. Dinners became interruptions. Weekends felt like inconveniences I resented. I told myself it was temporary. Funny word, temporary. Years passed without asking permission. People around me changed. They grew older, quieter. Some stopped inviting me. Others stopped explaining. I noticed, but not enough to stop, because stopping felt dangerous. When you spend years chasing money, stillness starts to feel like failure. Silence feels irresponsible. Rest feels earned only after exhaustion. So I kept going. I remember one night, late, office lights half off, I was alone with numbers on a screen. And for a moment, I felt proud. I told myself, this is what winning looks like. No one tells you how lonely winning can feel. I didn't lose people all at once. That would have been obvious. That might have scared me. I lost them gradually. Conversations got shorter. Laughter didn't reach me anymore. I stopped being part of the small stories, and somehow I accepted that too. I thought distance was the price of success. I thought love would wait. That's another lie money tells you. That everything important is patient. That people stay the same. That time keeps receipts. It doesn't. There were moments, small ones, where something inside me hesitated, a look I didn't recognize, a silence that lingered too long. But I pushed past them, because doubt doesn't pay bills, and reflection doesn't compound. I told myself I'd make it right later. Later became my favorite word. Later I'd slow down. Later I'd call. Later I'd be present. Later never argued back. And now, when I try to remember who I was doing all this for, I struggle because somewhere along the way, the future I was protecting stopped feeling real. And the present, I barely remember living it. I used to think money was the hard part. Earning it, keeping it, protecting it. I was wrong. The hardest part was noticing what it quietly replaced. And the strange thing is, no one warned me. Or maybe they did and I just didn't have time to listen. Sometimes I wonder if I had stopped earlier, would I have known how? Or would I have felt empty without the chase? That question still keeps me awake. People expect a breaking point to be loud, a collapse, a loss, something dramatic enough to force change. Mine wasn't like that. It was quiet. I don't even remember the day clearly. Just the feeling. I was sitting at my desk, papers stacked neatly, numbers lining up the way they always had. Everything looked right. And for the first time, none of it felt necessary. That scared me more than failure ever did. I remember staring at the screen, waiting for the familiar pressure to return. The urgency, the hunger, the sense that I needed to be somewhere else. It didn't come. Instead, there was this emptiness, wide, uninterested, as if the chase had finally stopped running with me. I tried to shake it off, told myself I was tired, that everyone burns out sometimes, that rest would fix it. But rest didn't help, because it wasn't exhaustion. It was recognition. I started noticing things I had trained myself not to see. The silence at home, not peaceful, unused. Rooms that felt more like storage than shelter. I'd sit down at night and realize there was no one left to interrupt me. And that's when it hit me. This was the life I had been protecting. A life with no resistance, no demands, no arguments, no need. I used to think freedom meant being unbothered. Turns out, being unnecessary feels a lot like disappearing. I looked at the things I had bought over the years. They were all still there. Carefully chosen, perfectly maintained, and completely silent. Money keeps its promises on paper. It gives you options, control, distance. What it doesn't tell you is that distance grows on its own. You don't choose it every day. You just stop fighting it. There were moments, small, cruel ones, when I tried to reach back. A phone call that felt awkward. A visit that ended too soon. I didn't know how to show up without a role, without providing, without fixing. I had built my worth on usefulness. And suddenly, no one needed what I knew how to give. That was the real breaking point. Not losing money, not losing status, losing relevance. I remember thinking, if I stopped tomorrow, would anyone notice? Not out of bitterness, out of genuine confusion. The answer wasn't clear. And that uncertainty, it settled into me. I started waking up earlier than usual, not motivated, restless. Morning light would creep into the room, and I'd lie there wondering how many mornings I had traded away, without ever realizing they were limited. I had spent decades preparing for a future that now felt unused. That realization didn't inspire me. It didn't push me to change. It just sat there, heavy, unmoving. Awakening is the wrong word. This wasn't clarity. It was discomfort without direction. Knowing something was wrong without knowing what to do with that knowledge. I could still go back to work, still play the part, still chase the next number. Nothing was stopping me, except now I knew what it was costing. And that knowledge made every step forward feel like a betrayal I could no longer pretend not to see. I didn't feel redeemed. I felt exposed, like I had finally removed a noise that had been covering something fragile for years. And underneath it, there was no plan. Just a question I had avoided my entire life. If I stopped chasing money, What would be left of me? I didn't have an answer. Not then. I still don't know if I was brave enough to face it. After the noise faded, there wasn't peace. There was space. Wide, unfamiliar space. I didn't know how to stand inside. I had spent so long filling my days, meetings, calls, deadlines, that silence felt like something was wrong. I kept reaching for distractions. News, numbers, anything that reminded me I was still doing something. But slowly, those stopped working too. So I sat, not intentionally, not bravely. I just ran out of places to run. Solitude wasn't healing at first. It was accusatory. Every quiet moment, asked questions I didn't want to answer. Who would I have been if I had stopped earlier? Who did I disappoint without ever saying goodbye? Those thoughts didn't come in order. They came in waves. Some days I felt nothing. Other days I felt too much. Healing, if that's what this was, didn't feel productive. There was no progress to measure, no milestones, just repetition. Wake up, make coffee, sit near the window. I started noticing small things again. The way light moves across a room, how quiet has different textures, how time stretches when you stop chasing it. At first, it made me restless. Then, it made me tired. And then, eventually, it made me honest. I began remembering moments I had buried under busyness, faces I hadn't thought of in years, conversations I cut short, not with regret at first, just recognition. I didn't try to fix anything. I knew better by then. Some losses don't want repair. They just want to be acknowledged. So I let them exist. That was new. Letting things exist without solving them. I stopped telling myself I had to become someone else. Stopped imagining a redemption arc. There would be no grand correction, only adjustment. Small ones. I started walking in the mornings, not for health, not for discipline, just to feel movement without purpose. I noticed how my body felt, older, slower, less forgiving, and instead of fighting it, I listened. That was unfamiliar too. I reached out to a few people, not to explain, not to apologize dramatically, just to say, I was thinking about you. Some didn't respond. That hurt more than I expected. Others did. Those conversations were awkward, uneven. We talked around the past instead of through it, and that was okay. This new life, if I can call it that, was quieter, smaller. No one admired it. No one envied it. It didn't look like success. And for the first time, I didn't need it to. Healing didn't give me back what I lost. It gave me the ability to sit with that loss without running. That's all. I still have money. It still sits there doing what money does. But now, it doesn't speak as loudly. It doesn't tell me who I am. I don't feel fulfilled. That word feels dishonest. What I feel is present. Some days, that's enough. Other days, it's not. But this time, I don't lie to myself about it. I don't pretend this new life is better than the old one. It's just truer. And truer things tend to arrive late. Sometimes I wonder if this life would have made sense to the younger version of me. I don't think so. He needed noise. He needed motion. He wouldn't have survived this quiet. But I can. And that may be the only proof that something in me finally changed. I don't have advice. Advice assumes you still believe you're in control. All I have is a fact that arrived too late for me to use it properly. Money doesn't ruin your life. It just slowly replaces it. Not all at once, not dramatically, piece by piece, moment by moment, until one day you look around and realize you protected something that never learned how to love you back. If you're still chasing, this will sound exaggerated. It always does before it becomes familiar. I'm not telling you to stop. I'm just saying, pay attention to what you're trading. Some things don't announce their departure. And when you finally notice, they're gone. There is no refund. That's all.